One of the most common questions I get from people on this blog is, what is your post workflow? And I want to share some of that with you real quick today. I'm a longtime Final Cut Pro user. I've recently switched to Adobe CS5.5 Premiere workflow, and I wanted to give you kind of a quick rough and dirty intro into how I use that software and how easily I can go back and forth from Premiere into Final Cut Pro. For those of you that are more familiar with that program, you'll find that the interface is actually pretty intuitive. I'm here with Richard Harrington, who's going to be helping us out after I do my quick and rough demo on how to get things going. So when you open Premiere, a new dialog shows up. Go ahead and click on New Project, give it your name. In this case, we'll call it Demo, and we'll override it because we already have an old one. I just skip this step and get ready to get going real quick. The next thing you're going to want to do is go to your media browser. In this case, I'm going to go to my desktop. And here is our demo footage. I'm just going to go ahead and import the whole thing. What you'll see is I've actually gone ahead and broken things down into the audio, Canon footage, and Red Epic footage. So we could go here if you wanted to and examine the contents here, or, well, I'll just drag all three in, just as you would with Final Cut, if you will, or many other nonlinear editors, or NLEs, which is just a fancy word for an editor. So here they're coming in. What's really great about CS5 for me is that you can not only work natively with most formats, and especially important to me is all the Canon formats and Nikon formats. This means you don't have to convert anything, which is a huge time saver. I started using it when I was giving demos because having to convert footage during workshops or on demos was a huge time issue. The other beauty about this as well is that of course, it supports Red Epic footage natively, so you don't have to do any conversion there as well. You can color correct within CS5, and it has one of the most powerful suites out there, notably After Effects, which everyone knows is kind of like one of the top pieces of software in the world for just about everything. So just as with Final Cut or most linear editors or nonlinear editors, you can go ahead and click on any file, and it'll pop up in the preview window here. And you go ahead and scrub. And one of the cool options you should know about is the playback resolution. You can set it to quarter, half, or full. Same with plus resolution, I'll put that on full. Idea being that depending on how fast your computer is, you can quickly scrub through big R3D files if you're shooting with the Epic, or also pretty big files on the Canon. I guess they're relatively big, but
yeah, the paused resolution is more important at a higher quality than the playback resolution, because if you've been using Final Cut Pro, you're used to the dynamic RT thing. Right. It's doing that same thing for you. When it's playing, it's often dropping quality, but when you pause and you're analyzing the frame, you want a cleaner frame.
That's when you want to see if it's sharp, if the colors are right, etc. And the quick and dirty way to get this clip into your sequence is just go ahead and drag it down here onto this new something item, in this case a new sequence. It'll automatically create a sequence based on that file's properties. And you're good to go. And just as you're used to, go ahead and double click on another file, set the I for in point again, O for out, and drag that right in here as well on the same track or a new track, depending on how you like to edit. And you can see it's pretty much the same way you're used to working with a lot of other Final Cut and other nonlinear editors. Go ahead and play back here on the window. There you go. So now I'm going to want to go ahead and drag in an Epic clip. Let's just pick one at random here. Again, here you go. We're playing 5K live in our preview window, which is pretty awesome. Again, remember to set your playback resolution to lower so you're not taxing your computer too much. And we can go ahead and drag it right in here. Actually, let me set a quick in and out point here.
And for the record, I think it's safe to say that 5K footage taxes every computer.
Yeah, 5K footage is kind of an insane concept. Go ahead and drag it right in here into the timeline. What you'll probably notice is that, of course, 5K is much higher resolution. We're going to go ahead and go down here to scale to frame size, which will fit it right in. The beauty of this now is I can go ahead and play my 5D footage and transfer immediately into my red footage back and forth, which is pretty impressive for just about any editor. Also, keep in mind that you need to make sure that you have the same playback resolution set here as well. If you have this set to full, you might see your computer chugging along a little bit. So that's as far as I'm going to go, which is a really quick intro. I'm I guess one of the quick tools I could show is how to do a quick fade in, fade out with the audio. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on, and we're going to pick the Bezier tool again. And is there a way to magnify this real quick?
Yeah, twirl that down.
There we go. And let's just go over here, add a Bezier tool right there, and another one over here and there, just like you did, you know, in say Final Cut. You've got your audio going down. Same with the clip in terms of fading in and fading out. It's all very familiar to all of us. Now, what I really wanted to show you, something that has me very excited, is that for a lot of you, you've obviously been using other applications, notably Final Cut Pro. I think we're all very committed to a certain app, especially with past work. I wanted to show you how quickly you can go from Final Cut Pro into Premiere and back, and vice versa, and have pretty much an incredibly powerful editing suite, because Final Cut Pro has tools like color, and of course After Effects exists in the CS5.5 suite. So with the two together, you have some of the most powerful editing pieces of software and post software at your fingertips.
Yeah, Creative Suite's really just sort of a team player. Like if you want to start somewhere and bring it in, you can, or you want to go somewhere, you can do that. It lets you go in or out.
All right, so here we are with your typical Final Cut Pro timeline, and I want to show you just how easy it is to get this into Premiere. Go ahead and export XML. Just leave it to the latest version of Apple XML.
I actually find, personally, I prefer 4.
Okay.
I always find that going one version back sometimes is safer. 5 works fine,
Sure.
But the difference between 5 and 4 is very minimal, and I get sometimes better compatibility with 4.
And do you include the master clips outside selection?
Not if you only want what's really in your sequence, so you're fine.
Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and export to this desktop and call it FCP on the desktop. There you go. So we'll go ahead and create a quick new project right over here. Again, I ignore this. Go ahead and go into Import. On the desktop, you'll see my FCP XML. It's importing the Final Cut Pro XML. Go ahead and open it. And there are the same clips, same sequence, and guess what? It's just that easy. The beauty of this now is you can go ahead and make a quick edit change. Of course, the real beauty for me is you can go into After Effects. We'll go into that later. I've just made that quick change. Let's say for whatever reason I want to go ahead and trim this sequence a little bit. Again, just drag that over here, click on the empty space, hit delete. I'm now going to go ahead and file, export Final Cut Pro XML. Saving the project. And now I can spell correctly and call it transfer from Premiere. You don't really have to change anything like that. There you go. Back into Final Cut Pro, import, or XML, I'm sorry. File, import, XML. Click OK. And now you have your sequence back from Premiere. So you can see it's really a fantastic way to, now you'll see the difference in sequence, you can see the trim sequence, etc. It's a fantastic way to quickly get in and out from Final Cut Pro to Premiere and back, so you don't feel like you're committed to one. You can go ahead and try the other and use tool sets from both pieces of software. So that's a quick intro into this. Again, remember, one of the most common questions I get is, how do you convert your HDSLR footage? You know, what do you use? With Premiere, you don't need to convert anything. All those issues are gone. As you saw, you just drag your clips in. You have access to After Effects and a lot of other really cool tools. And if you want to go back and forth through Final Cut Pro, it's really not an issue.